In today's video, I'm going to be predicting the release schedule for the 8 Star Wars games that we currently know about, as most of them were announced last year, and to this day we don't have a specific release date for any of them. Following the report by Tom Henderson about Disney wanting to release 2 Star Wars games per year, I thought it would be worth taking a stab at when I think we'll likely see the games we know about. Obviously I could be totally wrong, so please do remember that these are just my predictions. For those who don't remember, these are the 8 games we know about. We have Amy Hennig's action-adventure game by Skydance New Media, the Respawn Entertainment first-person shooter, the Ubisoft open-world game Star Wars Eclipse from Quantic Dream, the KOTOR remake from Saber Interactive, Jedi Survivor from Respawn, Star Wars Hunters from Zynga, and finally the strategy game by Respawn and BitReactor. Of those 8 games, we know the release year for 2 of them, which is Hunters and Jedi Survivor, both of which are next year, but when exactly? Well, a new novel called Star Wars Jedi Battle Scars takes place between Fallen Order and Survivor, and that releases on March 7th next year, and then the Survivor art book releases on May 2nd next year, so the game will likely release between the 2 of them, potentially late March or early April. As for Star Wars Hunters, there is unfortunately very little to aid us with regards to a release date, but there is a middle grade novel coming out next year, funnily enough on March 7th, as well as Jedi Battle Scars, so if the book is releasing on March 7th, that could help coincide with the game's release. I think as well that given it was due to release this year but got delayed only 2 months ago, means that we should see it within the first 6 months of next year. Since the soft launch began last November, it has genuinely come a long way, and no doubt it will be even better by the time it fully launches. So I'm definitely anticipating a May release at the very latest. Even if it is released in April around the same time as Jedi Survivor, I really don't think it would be a huge issue as they're totally different types of games releasing on entirely different platforms. The only similarity of course is that they are Star Wars games. As for the final 6 games, we have absolutely no idea when they will release in terms of years, so I could be way off. It's also good to remember that in Tom's article it says 1 big AAA game and 1 smaller game per year will release, be it mobile or something like Squadrons. So with 2023 having Survivor as the big game and Hunters as the mobile or smaller game, I can't see us getting anything else next year besides content updates for Hunters. Originally, the KOTOR remake was assumed to release in 2023, and some rumours even suggested that it would release later this year, but following the change in studios from Spire Media to Saber Interactive, that will no doubt delay the game at least for a year, so I'm fully expecting this to be the big AAA game release for 2024. As for the smaller game, I'm expecting that to be the Respawn Entertainment first-person shooter. Squadrons was completed in about 3 years, and was no doubt harder to make as they really had to dive deep into the flight systems and mechanics, something Motive hadn't done before, whereas Respawn have first-person shooters in their blood thanks to Titanfall and Apex Legends. I therefore expect this first-person shooter to take less time than Squadrons did, assuming it's a similar scale. It of course may not be a smaller shooter, it could be something more like Battlefront and release later, but I honestly can't see that happening, as I'm expecting it to be a smaller scale 5 vs 5 multiplayer with a couple modes and a few maps along with a campaign. Moving on to 2025, this is where I think we'll see the Skydance New Media action-adventure game and the BitReactor strategy game. Obviously I have no idea how big or small the FPS and strategy game from Respawn will be, but I can't help and feel that they'll be considered smaller projects. The Skydance game is obviously going to be the bigger game of a particular year, and given that Skydance's Marvel game got a teaser trailer this year, likely to help with hiring, I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw a teaser for the Star Wars game later next year. The Marvel game I think will release in 2024, and given that the Star Wars one was announced about 6 months later, I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw it within 12 months after the release of the Marvel game. Now we have just 2 games left, the Ubisoft open world game and Star Wars Eclipse from Quantic Dream, both of which will be huge games and will therefore likely release in different years. The Ubisoft game I think will be released first in 2026, originally I thought it could have released in 2025, especially as it would have been 4 years, but Massive Entertainment's Avatar game has been delayed to next year, and I have no doubt that it will impact the release of the Star Wars game. As for Star Wars Eclipse, it's something completely different to what Quantic Dream usually do, so I think it will take time for them to get used to things. Given how ambitious it is though, and given the setbacks of struggling to hire staff, I don't think we'll see the game until 2027. Assuming we do get 2 games per year with 1 big and 1 small, then I think my predictions are pretty reasonable, and if they are right then we probably won't get a new game announced for quite a while, which is pretty nuts to think about. Hopefully we do get more announcements soon, but more importantly I do hope we hear more about the games we currently know about, as it has been a while since we've heard anything besides a delay. Anyway guys, that is it from me today. Be sure to comment when you think these 8 games will release, and let me know if you agree with me or not. Thank you all very much for watching, and may the force be with you always.